This broadcast will start in 15 seconds. This broadcast will start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Voice of Stockton. For more information on The Voice of Stockton, go to thevoiceofstockton.org.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, The Voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
We was made to soar.
And house flipper and coach.
Yes. Perfect. Perfect. Good enough.
So good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
So with over 400 homes flipped in how long?
2003.
2003. I would say she's a bit of an expert.
Could be. Yeah.
So the question that is begging to be asked is it just like we see on TV?
No.
Really?
Nothing more
So I don't get to
frustrating,
show up in a
actually.
suit and designer clothes and knock out a wall?
I can't even watch those shows.
I have a twin brother. Does that count?
No. Yeah, no. Nothing even close to the same.
So I've seen some of your work, and that's how we originally met. I met her. I was doing a sale to Robert Mosqueda, a friend of mine, and you were the investor. And so that's how we became friends. And so I've seen some of her work, and I have to say, you do some fabulous work. I've seen some, as a real estate agent, I've seen some really bad flips.
Right.
So I have to say thank you
Me too.
for holding the standard
Thank you.
high.
Well, it is the heart for what I do. Actually, that is probably one of my more memorable situations. Robert and his family taking the keys from me with his sweet little daughters there.
yeah.
And him being a veteran and you having a heart
He's
for
watching
veterans.
right now.
Hey, Robert!
What's up, Robert? Hey, brother. How you doing?
You're my inspiration. I loved it. It really, I get teary-eyed, honestly. Like you, I'm a Stocktonian who loves
Right.
my city. And my favorite part about what I do is making it more beautiful and bringing families to homes.
Yeah,
So it's
you
just a
definitely
perk.
set the standard in that neighborhood,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
that's what Stockton needs. We need some help.
Yeah, we do. And I'm telling you, most people wouldn't want to buy most of the houses that I buy. You've seen them, so you know
yeah.
what they look like before. They wouldn't be the average fixer. So, and I think real estate investors sometimes take a bad rap. They look at us like, I want to say ambulance chasers or
Used car salesman.
yeah, used car salesmen.
Us real estate agents have the same
Yeah,
struggles.
exactly.
And so, 2003, what were you doing? Let's go back a little bit. Let's peel the onion back. So what were you doing before 2003?
Well, I've owned my own company since I was 20.
Okay.
And so I ran a company for many years successfully, and ironically had nothing to do with real estate. It was I actually sold clothing for residents in nursing homes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was, we had multiple vans. I had my sisters working for me, my mom, other people. We had about eight vans at one time.
So designer
clothes.
clothes.
It was designer clothes, yeah. Polyester pants and moo-moos. So I just always knew since a young age, I could say really my entrepreneurial spirit came out when I was much younger than that in a little red wagon with light bulbs that I went door to door selling because everyone needs a light bulb, right?
Right.
So they were so grateful when I opened the door and the affirmation and then, geez, I took a nickel and turned it into a quarter. It was amazing. Showing you my age now because we know that light bulbs are a little more than that now.
So to get this right, you took light bulbs in a wagon, knocked on doors, and asked people if they wanted a light bulb?
Yeah. Isn't that a great idea? I wish somebody would knock on my door right now. I'm always needing a light bulb.
Right.
There's a business idea.
I look at people who sit on the freeways or at stoplights asking for money, especially in the summertime. If they had an ice chest full of water and sell the water for $1, they would have more money than they know what to do with.
Exactly.
It costs you
that's a great idea.
$4 or $5 for a case of 24. You turn that 24 into 48.
It's a great idea. You know, that's my passion, honestly. It's turned from being an entrepreneur to just absolutely living for watching and supporting and helping other entrepreneurs be better, finding their passion and turning it into a way to monetize it, a way to make money.
So from a wantrepreneur to an entrepreneur.
Ooh, I like it. I say from passions to profits.
There you go. I like that one too.
I actually have a website that's passions to profits.
Oh, really?
.online.
.online?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I figured I'd throw that in.
Yeah, shameless plug.
Hey,
Right.
why not? It's a free cheat sheet, so they can
Okay.
get it there.
Well, I'll plug it into the
That
show
wasn't even
notes.
shameless. I told you I'm a salesman.
Yeah, there is no shame in being a salesman. Or is it salesperson nowadays?
Well, you know, I really do put out, I mean, something like what I'm giving away on that website. It's a free thing, and it really will help somebody turn their passions into profits.
I like it. I wish I would have known about that before the show. I could have talked about that.
You still can do it. You can still do it, Lance.
So from Red Wagon to selling moo-moos and polyester, how did you go, I want to buy a house and fix it up?
Yeah,
How
right.
that
Right. Okay.
Were you married at the time?
I was married. I married and when I was 20 something to a different guy than I'm married to now. I've been married now for 21 years, but I was married to a different person then. And actually what happened was during this time was a downturn. And at the same time as that downturn, I ended up, my mother was working for me and she got cancer and ended up passing away. And
Sorry about that.
Got a divorce, lost my home to foreclosure. It was a very rough time. So I went from what I say back in the day, all that in a bag of chips.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nothing can stop me. I'm young. I'm vivacious. And I came from a middle-class family. No one taught me how to do any of this stuff. So I had a pretty big head, I guess I'm going to say it at that age.
We all kind of have a little bit of
I
ego
kind of
problem.
got slapped down there for a while where
Right.
I pretty much got down to the clothes on my back. And then something, and it's probably because I had all that stuff going on, I got in a really bad car accident. So once the health thing hit, where I was bedridden for several months, and during that time, so I had this little transition time, and I was actually, without going into all the little bitty details, I was at a sundry shop in an airport, and there was this book called 1 Minute Millionaire that just called my name. Tamara, come buy me. So I've never heard of this this way of putting your money in different facets.
Right.
I don't want to, call it any one thing because people call it different things, but where I had buried all my money into this business.
Right.
And what happened was because I was selling to nursing homes, the government took the opportunity away for nursing homes to manage their money right in the middle of my business. So my business immediately became a nonprofit.
Wow.
Because it was really a great business where I would bring clothing in, allow people to shop that couldn't get out. So it was a really good give back. At the same time, it was profitable. But when there was no more money to be spent when I showed up, so I tried all different ways for a long time. But anyway, so lost that business, lost everything. It was my firstborn. So anyway, all that happened. We all have our stories, right?
Right.
I'm sure
Everybody
you have
has a
them.
story.
I'm sure anybody watching this has their story. So I picked out this book, and and it was written by Mark Victor Hansen and the Nothing Down guy, Robert Allen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so they put this book together, and I found out right after reading the book they were going to be just in Los Angeles up the road at a conference.
So you said, I'm going.
Yeah, I'm there. I don't have any money. I don't know how I'm going to get there or where I'm going to stay, but I'm
Sleeping
going.
in my car.
I'm limping there. I'm just kidding. So I did. I went. And actually, ironically, as soon as I showed up, Mark Victor Hansen was having breakfast right where I was at, and he gave me a hug, and I was just like instant first, just admired him greatly. I'd always been into personal development, but
Right.
at this point was really looking for something. So they get up on stage and they do what they do at these things. What do? They
sell.
Sell.
Buy my books. Buy my CDs. No, wait.
Buy
my cassette tapes.
Yeah, that's about how long ago it was. So yeah, you got that right. That's funny. You're funny,
I'm just messing with
Thanks.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, I remember those too. Hey, I had the dual cassette
I
going.
had VHS,
used to
so I'm worse than you.
Well, I
That's
remember.
funny.
I'm not that young.
So I'm sitting there, and they put out the offer, and of course I'm like dying to want to work with them, right?
Right.
And so I took I raised my hand for the cheapest coaching they offered, some sort of group coaching that was going to show us how to do real estate and stocks and all these different things.
Diversify your
Problem
funds.
was, after I raised my hand, I realized that I didn't have $1 on me or a credit card or any money. So I actually picked up the phone, and I tell a lot of people that I charge now for coaching. It's the best move I ever made. Picked up a phone and called a very good friend who agreed to let me use their credit card to put that coaching on the credit card.
How much was it coaching back then?
$5,000.
Oh,
No, that was the cheap one. No, there was a 5, a 10, and a 50. I picked the cheapest one they could offer.
wow.
Best move I ever made. Best move I ever made. I know, not one, because, okay, so let me tell you how it all ends now, right? So I do this group coaching, and then I actually have my only big job at this time, working in the yellow page industry, which gave me some flexibility. But it still took about I definitely, out of the ways that they talked about making money, real estate was the one that I most identified with.
Right.
Having just gone through what I did in foreclosure, no one came and knocked on my door. No one told me there might be a way out. No one helped me through that situation, so I lost the house to the bank. And my passion in working with people like that isn't to take their house by any means. In fact, I wrote a book. It's out there. Y'all can buy it. Avoid Foreclosure Following the Smart Steps Plan. Because I had a heart for helping people get out of foreclosure, not
Right.
just sell me their house. But if they do need to sell me their house, I'm going to give them a fair price. And so I ended up sending out letters, handwriting them, because again, I'm still on a budget.
Right. I know.
Knocking on doors. So the one of the guys that got one of my letters, I actually put a little cross at the bottom of the letter, and he said he held on to it and had ended up calling me. He thought he was going to get out of it, like everyone does. Sometimes they can't. So he pulled the letter out of his drawer and called me and said he kept it, because I always put "I'm praying for you" on the bottom of the letter.
Oh, how
So
sweet.
he kept it. It inspired him. And when it came around with all the letters he was receiving, I got the phone call. So this was my first opportunity to actually sit with somebody who was really
Wow.
in foreclosure.
Were you nervous?
And mind you, again, I wasn't sure I was going to pay for this house that I was going to go talk to him about. But anyway, he calls me, and I did everything I was told to do, and I had a contract and knocked on the door, and he answers the door, and the house has no electricity on and a pretty bad smell coming out of that
bet.
house.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
he looked so sad. So I came in the house. I don't know if that was the safest thing to do. But he was actually really nice. I sat on the box in the middle of the living room that had graffiti all over the walls. And I just said the magic words that every person that ever wants to work with anyone should know. What are they? What do you want? How can I help you?
Right.
And then just listened. He said he wanted $20,000 over what he owed. I asked him how much he owed, and I wrote the contract up for that amount because I'd already done my research and I knew that that was a fair price. So he literally, and this is no joke, this isn't like the shows, this is true story. So then he stands up, he's got the keys to the house in his hands. No joke, Lance, you know this isn't how it's supposed to work. He hands me the keys to his house. All we have is a contract. And he says, I have a car in the driveway. You can also have that. Call me when I can pick up my check. And he walks out the front door.
Wow.
So I'm standing here in this graffiti-filled, dark, urine-smelling
Oh, my.
house with a car in the driveway, keys in my hand, and a contract, trying to figure out.
What's my next move?
Exactly.
You're like, what am I going to do?
And my $5,000 coaching didn't give me the kind of coaching where I get to call somebody or email anyone. I just kind of was on my own. So I called a very good friend of mine who you might know. Her name's Michelle Burgad. And this was the beginning of a long partnership. Because she came in and she brought her husband and we brought the kids and we cleaned that place up before we owned it. Let me just say that wasn't probably the smartest move.
Right.
Stuck a sign for sale by owner on the front lawn before I owned it. Don't do this. This was back in the day. Things were a little looser
you might get in
back
trouble
then.
for that nowadays.
And the market was just starting to turn up. And we ended up doing and I did something else that's completely wrong. I mean, I did so many things wrong that it's not even funny. We didn't put $1 in escrow. I did take it to the title company, and they handled it, but I never put my money
Your
in.
EMD down.
Yeah, my
Your
$1. My
consideration.
$1 that I promised him. by the way, let me just say what I was taught from the Nothing Down man. We don't do that now either.
Yes.
It's a little more on earnest money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you not in real estate, you don't know why I'm rolling my eyes and laughing, but these are some pretty big
Well, because
faux
if you don't
pas.
put the money in, you don't have a valid contract.
Exactly. And I'm fixing up a house that I don't own. And then I'm selling a house I don't own.
Had you put the dollar in,
That
it would have protected you.
yeah, but so the went in and bought the house that I didn't own. So I didn't have to come up with $1 to buy that house. So I sold the house. It's called a double closing. I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't know I was doing.
Are those
what's
still
called
allowed these days?
I don't think they're allowed.
I don't
now.
think so either.
I don't think so either. Well, they are. I shouldn't say not allowed. Some title companies do them, but I don't.
Because when the market tanked in 2007-ish.
All this creative stuff just got sent out the back door.
Oh my gosh. I had got together with the guy who was telling me about short sales. I was a real estate appraiser. He needed my skills to appraise property. But I wasn't appraising. There was nothing to appraise. You know?
Right.
So he's like, hey, let's do this. We were working with the bank. We're like, we're going to do these double-ended closes. And the title company was like, can't do those anymore. I'm
Yeah.
like, why not?
Well, some people will tell you can't do a lot of things that you can do, but it just depends on what title company you use.
True.
So without going into all that, because I still do assignments, and some title companies won't, and some will.
Right.
It's called wholesaling. It's a famous word now, but it's just selling a contract.
Right.
There is a lot of rules about making those legal, but at any rate, big check came. Actually, we ended up pocketing more than the average person in Stockton makes in a year.
Wow.
The check was for $80,000.
Holy moly.
So guess what? I was all in.
She was addicted.
Yeah, me and Michelle, we had a good time for
Paid
a
him
couple
the
of years.
paid him the 20 and split 30.
Yeah, no, everybody won. I mean, I gave him what he wanted. The family moved into a beautiful home. Everything. There's not a loser in this situation.
No.
And I didn't know the market was going to turn and do that. I mean, that was fantastic. We sold it in like 2 or 3 months. But again, not knowing a darn thing. So, but once you get through that first, that's like an encouragement. I mean, just to say, like most of the people that I coach, and I coached over 72 investors last year.
Wow.
The first contract is the hardest one. You know, once you do one deal, it's like you're in.
It's hard for us real estate agents because we're
Same.
bound by fiduciary responsibilities and all this other stuff governed by California.
Yeah, I'm not.
I know.
I'm not. So I'm not licensed, and I choose not to be, which I want to say I work with a lot of investors like Lance, and I always support those who we work together. I mean,
It's a
I have
team.
realtors bringing me properties that would not be good properties to go on MLS. I'll buy them, and then they'll relist them. So, obviously most of my properties go out on the market, and you guys make money when you
Right.
did on Robert's house. Hopefully you made a little. I put them on the market. So I support title companies, lenders. Hi, Sonny. You said to say hi, by the way.
What's up, Sonny?
Realtors of all kinds.
Home Depot.
Home Depot loves me. I have 3 construction crews going almost all the time at the same time.
Wow.
So I employ quite a few people in town inadvertently. So, and
Do you do any of the work yourself, or you step back from that?
I'm a delegator.
Okay.
No, I call
she's the
myself
boss.
a contractor babysitter.
Oh my gosh, I bet.
Full-time job.
Hey, where are you at? You're supposed to be here at 8:30.
Exactly. No, I actually go. Actually, I have people that do it, but when I leave here, I have a house over here on Harding. I'm going to go see, and I just stop in and make sure things look
everything's going
safe
good.
and that people are doing what they're supposed to do. Actually, favorite part of my job is watching the transition.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, I just showed you the
I
picture.
know,
Like,
the-
look.
I saw this picture, the one you have in Murata. I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
I think you made a mistake on
Everybody
this
thinks
one.
that.
But then I seen the pictures. I'm like, oh wow, that's beautiful.
Most of the houses I buy, I have found that people can't believe I bought them. I have vision. I have been
that's
gifted
a lot
with
of-
vision.
A lot of people don't have the vision.
Exactly.
And I think it comes from lack of experience, seeing what it takes and knowing what it takes. Because your first ones, you're probably fearful. Am I going to make any money? I've talked to some investors and who've talked to other investors, and they're like, man, we're a little fearful right now. Like, we have 13 properties and they're all in transition, and we're trying to offload them as fast as we can.
Too bad they bought them at the price they did. I don't get emotional really about the purchase of the property. It has to make sense. In fact, I have a piece of software that's called the bottom line. It's the bottom line. It's my line. I've always said it. It
has to make sense for everybody. You can't.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, the seller can't only win.
No. And the buyer can't only win, and everybody just needs to work together.
Everybody needs to make a little piece of the pie.
You know why I do pretty good with sellers and owners is I'm just honest. Here's the comps. If you want to go to a realtor and put it on the market, this is what it's going to sell for, which is a lot more than I'm going to pay. I just say it flat up, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I want you to do what's best for you. For me, if I'm going to buy your house, I'll close and I'll do all like those little bandit signs, those little sign
10 days,
spam.
72 hours. No.
No, well, that's difficult just because of
No,
title.
I'm
But
just kidding you.
if it wasn't for title, I could. And a lot of people that I'm working with have desperate situations that if it wasn't for me helping them, they'd walk away with nothing.
Yeah, when I was when the market shifted in 2007, there was a lady. She had a property on Swain, and it could have been torn down and put a multifamily up there. And she was just waiting and waiting and waiting. I'm like, I can buy this property from you. You could walk away with 30 grand. If the bank takes it,
Walk away with nothing.
you're gonna probably all the fees that they're gonna charge you, you might get $5. And she decided to hold out, and they foreclosed on her. And I was like, I felt bad for her.
Well, right now we're sort of at a peak of a market. In fact, we've been at a peak. And in fact, since June, it's flattened. You know that. More days on the market, prices are coming down.
Yeah, last year was crazy. If you didn't get to a property in 3-4 days, you didn't get it.
Exactly. No, it's not like that now. And I'm still talking to sellers that are like, oh, the market's high. And I'm like, well, the news hasn't caught up because they're too busy talking about sex scandals or whatever. But they'll start talking about this pretty soon. And it's not a fear. Have you ever done the historical, like for Stockton, to know what the cycle is?
What do you mean? How far back?
Yeah, so I've gone back 80 years.
Oh, wow.
And
Impressive.
well, I haven't been alive that long, but I have studied the market very diligently. Having been through a foreclosure once, I never want to go through that again.
Me neither.
So every 7 years on the button has been a turn, and we're a year and a half out right now from that 7-year mark. And so, it's just an adjustment. Nobody needs to freak out.
That's what
It's
people are
okay.
saying. The market's going to crash. No,
No.
it's not going to crash. We're not
Hope
in
not.
that same position we were years ago. People are employed. People are working now.
Great
More people are
economy.
working now. The market's just going to adjust a little bit.
Always does. Just expect it, people. Don't panic.
But as far as a crash, unless they go back to the same lending standards as they did prior, I don't foresee a crash. Because between 2002 and 2005 and 6, you could literally walk in a bank and go, I make $200,000 a year.
You can
Sign
buy.
on the
Say
dotted
whatever you want.
line.
Yep.
Make 3 months payments. Therefore, it would not be considered fraud. And I know people were doing this. They would rent out the property and drag out the foreclosure as long as they could.
Yeah. Yeah.
Buy $1 million
So-
homes in the Bay Area,
Yep.
$600,000 homes in Spanos and Brookside.
Yep. Well, lenders hopefully have gotten a little stricter.
Yeah,
And,
I was an
that's
appraiser
not gonna
back then,
happen.
and I would get, you were as the middle guy, you were stuck. A lender would say, hey, I need $3,000 to make this deal work. Okay, yeah, that's conceivable. I could do that. It'd have a lender go, I need $27,500 to make this deal work. You're like, I'm sorry, I can't stretch the comps that far.
No.
But then if you didn't, they would never send you any more business. So you were stuck.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
you built this long-term relationship with this lender, then he gives you a bad deal and he's mad because he's not going to be able to make those 3 or 4 points on the back end that they were making back then.
Right.
They were just
Yeah,
gouging people.
Yep, I was there. Hi, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle. How you doing? So,
Yeah, those were the days, and I've been through this. This one, I'm going to say we're in it. I want to say we're in it and see we're all living. Nobody
Yeah.
even hardly knows. This is called an adjustment. It's normal.
it's flattening out right now.
Yeah,
I
and
would
there's
say.
nothing to be afraid of if you buy at a property that at a price that makes sense, and you sell them at what makes sense. They were just kind of going.
That's why I tell
high.
people, you have to buy a property that you're comfortable with the payment. If you're not comfortable with the payment, don't buy it. I don't, because you're going to blame me, your agent, because you bought a property that you live check to check in. You're going to, why did he sell me that house? Forget the personal responsibility in this situation. But you're going to blame me, and I don't want you to blame me. I don't want you to wake up and regret buying.
Yeah, so you
the
work with
house.
clients trying to keep them within their budget in neighborhoods that
Suit them.
Suit them. Exactly. So yeah, I could talk about real estate till tomorrow. So what else you want to talk about? So, any other questions?
What other, so real estate, flipper. Let's talk about your coaching. What do you do for coaching in case anybody
So
wants to coach?
I'll just
Do you charge
transition.
$5,000 though?
I charge more.
Oh my God. There.
No,
Do I
actually,
get a
have
discount because they're on my show? No.
I'm going to do a shameless plug again. CoachingYouToProfits.com, and actually, you can get a mastermind coaching for as little as like $297 a month.
Oh, it's not
So,
bad.
no, it's not bad at all. And actually, because I have this passion for just real estate investors, because obviously I am one, but also I have lots of other businesses that I run, and you don't have to be a real estate investor to be coached by Tamara. So I've done this event called 7 Days to Freedom. This year will be our 5th year. We've taken over 48 entrepreneurs to other countries
Oh, wow.
and just kind of smushed a year's worth of work of figuring out what you're going to do, that passions to profits, into 7 days. Why we have a ton of fun. So
Where'd you go last time?
it was Costa Rica in
Yeah,
July. Yeah,
I remember
So
that.
we're going to go to the Caribbean in February, and then probably back to Costa Rica after that.
So if you're learning for 8 to 10 hours a day, how do you find
Oh, see,
time
now
for
that's
fun?
not what we do. See, this is what's amazing is we do different exercises. So somebody asked me that, why do you go to these beautiful places that are sort of more expensive, like almost 5-star resorts, and work? And I said, well, we do about 2.5 hours in the morning, and then you get all day to play, and another 2.5 hours of teaching time, teaching coaching. And I do this, the teaching's done by Donna Porto, who's written like 40 books, millions of books sold. In fact, she's in Brazil for the last month teaching thousands. I think she's talked to over 5,000. So she's the teacher, and I get to do what I love to do, which is the interaction like this and coach.
Nice.
So anyway, yeah. So 7daystofreedomevent.com has a webinar if you want to learn more about that.
We have a question. How does a new investor get started?
I have a couple different things I could refer to. One is
Okay.
free, REI Posse, POSSE.com. If you go there and put your name and email in, you're going to get like some teaching emails for about 30 days that kind of let you get your feet wet. And how does anyone get started? I'm obviously a proponent of why reinvent the wheel.
Absolutely.
That was my saving grace, spending that little bit of money, and it seemed like a lot. But next to the $80,000 that I made, does it seem like a lot?
Not at all.
Right. So you can go try to figure it out and do it by the school of hard knocks and probably end up losing more than you make. If you decide to get through that, then you might make it. But, school of hard knocks is expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So
I agree with that. I've been knocked up inside my head a few times.
So who said that? What's the first name?
Michelle Marie.
Yeah. So Michelle, if you're interested in showing up for some coaching you to profits would probably be, and you can always hit the contact button on any of my pages. Just reach
Okay.
out. I love communication and feedback. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
You're learning
I'm
about what I
learning.
do now.
I
huh?
know.
I always see you at the gym
I
and we
know.
do business together, but now we're learning about each other's business.
Exactly. And then also, people invest with you.
Yes, that's another thing. Okay. So I actually buy houses and I have a limited amount of money. I'm not Donald Trump. Oh, sorry, not political, just rich. He's just rich, okay? So I have a lot of money, but I don't have enough to buy every house that I want. So what I've done is this all started with, again, a friend. I just said to a friend's like, I want to invest in houses. I just don't really want to learn how to do it. I don't want to manage it. I don't want to do it. So I said, well, why don't you just give me your money and you could become an investor without having to do all that hard work. So I have made her a lender of sorts because legally I'm not able to do anything like that. I can't take people's money and invest it. I'm not licensed to do that. But she was able to loan me money, and then we just split the profits. So now I have and then she told another friend, and another friend told another friend, and so people have been asking to be a part of my real estate deals. And I just will say this, that I've never lost in Stockton or San Joaquin County or anywhere local. My only big loss was during the downturn, and it was on a builder situation where I lost big because I invested for the future, which I never do now. I never put money in a house counting on it to go up because of a market that's going up. So now I've learned my lesson.
Speculation.
No speculation at all. In fact, I buy on current market and back up in my mind always cash flow if I have to rent it. So so far that hasn't happened though on my
knock on some wood
flips. Yeah, in 13 years, never in this area.
So the investment project, was that a condos build out or was it just...
it was huge, and it was in an area I didn't know in North Carolina, and I got involved with a builder. I actually was involved with lots of builders at that time. So how I grew my business back then was I got to know builders because then people were building. As you know, we're not doing a lot of that right now. So
we need to.
Yeah, we do need to. But because I would go in with earnest money to purchase a bunch of houses from a builder.
Okay.
And guess what was happening at that time? Market was going up. So I'd have all these contracts for houses that were going up, and by the time they were done, I was able to sell the contracts. And the builder knew up front, it was all disclosed, if I didn't want to buy them. And some I bought and some I didn't. Well, that worked until it didn't. Until the crash.
I know. When Brookside just started, I was like, I could buy a house here and then sell it when it's done and make 30 or 40 grand.
Right. That's what we were doing. And it worked okay, but I've learned my lesson and don't recommend anyone buying on speculation because you just don't know what the future's going to be.
Even the homes, I know a guy in Lodi, he works for a builder, and they were like, we're having to lower the prices. They were pushing, and now they're pulling back a little bit. Mm-hmm. So things are sitting a little longer.
Pulling back is a sign of the times.
Somebody wants to know, can they use their IRA to invest with real estate?
Oh, yeah. Did you know that? Yeah. They have what they call checkbook IRAs. There's companies that manage. So you could take your current IRA and move it over to a company, which I have like a couple different names of companies that manage that. And now your money's in your IRA still. And several, I have like
interest
3
free
investors. Yeah. Yeah. No, right. It's just sitting there doing nothing. But it's called a checkbook IRA, and as long as you do like you couldn't do something with your name on it, but if you give your
arm's length transaction.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So so if you're interested in, I'd say all of my investors have made no less than 25% last year. My lenders, excuse me.
That's pretty good
lenders.
return. It's better than some banks. I was going to name a couple banks, but I don't want them calling me.
Well, it's hard to make that much money consistently. And for the last 3 years, that's what my investors have averaged. So.
What's the minimum you require?
20,000.
20,000. Ouch.
That's nothing to buy a house.
To invest with you, though.
Well, if you had your IRA, it's just sitting there making 3% or 6% or whatever, 8, maybe 10 if you're good. So
that's pretty good.
And I guess I never could understand. I'm sorry, my stock loving friends, but why would you invest in something that has no asset base to back it up? So if you give money to a house like you would with me, your name's on a lien. You own part of that house. So as long as real estate's one of the most valuable long-term investments you can ever own.
Telling me.
So it doesn't.
You think about the homes that our parents bought for $25,000 when we were younger are worth hundreds of thousands right now.
So why would you spend $20,000 on a piece of paper that has no asset back to it at all. Could just gone.
Evaporate.
Just like that.
Like Enron.
Yeah. Well, like it happens. I mean, I'm all about just diversifying. Don't get me wrong, but
You don't
I'm
invest
just-
in the stock market at all?
not much. Why would I? I mean,
True.
I'm a real.
If you would have bought Google, you would have been doing pretty good right
Yeah,
now.
but there's a lot of risk, and I feel like with real estate, it'll go down for a while, but 100% of the time it comes back. It's
Yeah.
never not come back. Look at real estate. Has it ever
I
not
know it's pretty.
come back higher?
So
it's like this, you know.
in 2009 and 10, you could have bought a 3-bedroom home in a nice neighborhood for about 125 to 150.
Double that now, probably.
It's probably worth 300,000 right now.
So if you're
in
in
8 years,
I think a long-term strategy for that is very wise. So I do have some long-term holds, and that is my retirement.
I thought so too until the market crashed.
Yeah, but then you just hold on to it. That's why
Well,
you
I
have
wasn't
to buy,
able to hold on to it. That's the thing.
because you didn't buy for cash flow.
True.
That's right.
I didn't have enough cash flow, and I didn't expect the people that were renting
To leave.
to lose their jobs as well.
Exactly. It was a
And
tough.
so
See, the crash, that is always called the crash.
the crash. That was tough because I was
that's an anomaly.
I was
and
in
I'm
it
hoping it doesn't
for the
happen
long
again for a
term.
while.
I was like, I'm just gonna ride it out because when this
We all
comes
tried.
back,
Yeah.
I was trying. I'm like, okay, I can't do it anymore. I'm spending my savings, and I
Yep.
was just like, told the people like,
We all suffered in that.
because they're like, I
don't know
can't pay
hardly
rent. I
anyone
lost my job. All of
Oh,
them. Like it seemed
yeah.
like overnight. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we pray that doesn't happen, but even in stocks, you would have lost. So it doesn't matter what you were involved in
True.
at that time.
Very true.
It was just a tough time. But we're not there now. The economy is not even close to looking like it did then.
So, how do you see the economy from an investor lens? How do
So-
you see the economy
Right now?
Yeah.
It's booming. It's a booming economy. The houses I just told you are adjusting,
Yeah.
which no one can understand because we have not enough inventory. Prices are leveling. And
It's a weird time because we're going
is.
into the holidays. People are like, what's going on with the market? I'm like, it's kind of hard to pin it. We're going in the holidays, which is typically a slow time for real estate. People are kind of hunkering down for the winter. They got the holidays coming up. They want to spend for the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Interest rates are creeping up.
This isn't the best time of the year to put your house on the market.
No. Interest rates are creeping up a little bit. People are kind of leery. They don't know what going to do, so people are kind of hesitant. So
Yeah,
January, February, we'll see how it.
how it all pans out.
Yeah, it's really the
pending no natural disasters, which have happened all around us.
All
I'm so
those fires,
sorry.
man.
Been
Oh
praying
my
for
gosh.
everybody who's involved and knows people, and pray for your families. That was just so sad. It's all sad. But pending no natural disasters like that, or some unusual
The Orville
horrible-
Dam breaking.
Yes.
Just saying. Governor Brown, get busy.
any of that weirdness, I'm pretty sure that the market will just do its normal little adjustment. You might not even hardly notice unless you're in the business.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping happens. Obviously, we all hope for that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Pending no natural disasters or
Which can happen anytime.
Yeah.
You can't live
tornado
like that. I
runs
don't
through
live like that.
Stockton. Yeah.
You go until you don't. And just be smart. I mean, if you're going to become a real estate investor, make sure you're buying smart. Make sure you're buying based on current comps of sold and pending properties.
I always used to
And
go
a
for
comp
the
is-
pain.
Not everybody knows what a comp is, you think?
Yeah. You want to tell them?
Go ahead.
A comp is a comparable sale. And what we do is this is the way I do it. I don't know how you
No,
just
that's how you do it, yeah.
So if this mic is the house, I start close and I broaden my sphere until I find comparable homes. Your neighbor's home, which is a 5-bedroom, 2-bath home, isn't comparable to a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. So people go, my neighbor's house sold their home for $385,000. I go, okay, but it's got 2 bedrooms and 300 square feet larger than your home. It's not comparable.
Exactly. Thank you.
And so you start.
Make a little video.
Yeah, right.
Hand
So
that
you-
to all the sellers.
I start small and expand my circle until I find like properties. And a comparable is a like property. And if there are no comparable properties, then that's when you start making the adjustments.
Go out
to
farther, go out longer.
Try not to cross a main street. People always ask me about Zillow. What's your feeling about Zillow?
Well, I never use a Zestimate.
What?
But I do. Yeah. What? But not everybody has access to what you have access to. So if they did kind of want to know, well, call Lance if you want to know what your house
That's
is
right.
worth. Yeah,
Call
just
Lance McCann. Yes, you can, but Lance McCann.
Exactly. But if you just really just sort of want to just fool around in there, you can go to Zillow and you can type in your address. And there is a way to get to a bunch of houses that have sold. Most of them are on MLS. Some of them aren't. And you can find like, there's a comp and it's sold like in July and it looks like it's about my size. So you can sort of do it by hand, but make it easy on yourself.
I always tell people plus or minus 20% is a safe, because when Zillow came out and how Zillow works is they aggregate the sales.
Estimates are stupid.
And average price per square foot. So
for a year. For the last year, there's houses sold in January for they're calling a comp.
Right. So the crazy thing is, country club properties.
Right.
They would go out and pulling comps from
Brookside.
Mm-hmm. So people were in country club like, my home's worth $400,000. I'm like, no, sorry, it's not.
Yeah.
That's because Zillow's pulling the cost per square foot in Brookside, which is really quarter mile away.
Oh, not even close to the same neighborhood.
So it's not even the same neighborhood, not even the same house, and people are like, "My house was $400,000." I'm like, "Sorry."
So you have to look at the individual. If you're going to use Zillow at all, go to what has sold individually. I mean, again, use a professional. That's my recommendation.
It's a love-hate relationship with Zillow. It really is.
What's that question? Is that a new one or is that?
What is your biggest learning lesson, and what is your biggest win?
Well, my biggest win was what I just told you about, probably. Actually, I had a really good one, like last month.
A big win?
Yeah, I had a really big win. A guy had owned a house for 4 years that was vacant in French Camp, and I was just going to assign the contract on it because it was really bad. It was on acreage, and but I had a contractor go in, which I always do. If you're an investor, you want to have professionals.
Yes.
Crawled the roof, checked the attic, checked the foundation, checked the electric, checked the plumbing, and he's like, "There's nothing wrong with this house. It's just ugly."
Surely is ugly.
I mean, it's just like down to the bones ugly. It'd been just torn to shreds by homeless people. So I bought it, and it was a bigger win than my first deal.
Wow.
In this market. But you know how difficult it is right now as high as properties are. That was a good win.
I had one on Solari. It was like 100. We marketed at 105,000. I had to take it off the market. It's a probate in foreclosure, and it's a mess.
Oh wow!
But people like, I want this house. I had like 20, 30 calls on this, and I was in contract with a guy. He's like, I don't know, like. It's hard to this home fixed up will probably go close to 180, 200.
I bought it for 125 and sold for 360.
Oh my gosh!
But I put 100 into it.
Yeah, people don't realize how much you put in. You specifically, and I know a couple of good flippers who
it turned out beautiful.
Put some good money into properties. They don't cut corners, and that's the biggest thing. Is you go in and you look like, what is that? Where's the craftsmanship? There is no pride in your work. Pride in your work.
Yeah, there's a lot of pride in my work. Because I know there's a family moving in there.
Yeah.
I would not want to live. And in fact, I've had people come back afterwards and say, for instance, I had one I sold, and we never plug in a washer or dryer, right? So we wouldn't know if plumbing's plugged. And they even had an inspection and everything else and didn't show up. So afterwards, they started the washer, and immediately the plumbing backed up. So I sent a plumber. I took care of it. I mean, it was not
you did
my
that
obligation.
with me and Robert. There was an issue. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, I did. I don't remember what I was.
I think it was a heater.
Some silly little thing that we wouldn't have known. But I'll take care of it. I just don't ever want.
The heat exchange, the manifold had
weird.
Cracked.
Oh yeah, that was terrible. But I took care of it after the house
Damn
sold.
it!
I know. So see, I'm not one of those cheesy people.
Yeah, that's why
wrong.
we're friends. It's like I respect your work ethic and you're treating people fairly.
Yeah.
And then plus I see you at the gym all the time.
Yeah. Saw you this morning. I think that a good morning regimen starts a person's day right. I think to me that's my most important part of my day.
Working out?
No, not just that. I think
the morning.
Half an
do you have
hour
a ritual?
alone, and I want to say I pray and do Bible and eat a little oatmeal and have a little something to wake up. But just a half an hour meditation before you just hit the ground running.
So when you say meditate, do you mean like meditate?
No, I pray. I pray, and I have a little Bible study I do at my kitchen table, and just soak in the day. Think about here's what I do. What 3 things am I going to accomplish today? 3, not 100, not nothing.
Hey Zeta, how you doing?
Isn't that, I mean, how many people wake up in the day and feel, how many, if anybody listening, or have you ever felt at the end of a day when you woke up in a day and you said, I'm just going to see where the day takes me. And then the day ends and you're laying in bed.
That was this weekend at Disneyland.
Oh, that's different. You're on vacation. I'm talking a work day. I'm talking a day, a productive day. But then the day takes you, right?
Sometimes it takes you off. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So you lay in bed at night and you go, oh, I just wasted a complete, and then you're just disappointed with yourself. So then the other side of the thing is you have 50 goals and you reach none of them, or you meet, maybe you meet 10 of your 50. You're God. Wow, you meet 10 of your 50 things on your list, and you still lay in bed feeling like a failure because you didn't. So my most important thing to feel good about and to accomplish more is to think about before I go to bed what I want to do and start my day with a vision, and knowing that life does come along and sometimes twist it.
Slaps you upside the head.
But you know how you do that? You turn this off, stay off social media, and focus on your goals for an hour or 2 a day. At least. I mean, you can get back on that phone and social media will still be there.
Yeah, the phone, I have a weird relationship with the phone because...
You and a lot of people.
Because it's part of my business.
Mine too.
I mean, me, social media marketing and all that stuff.
Do you have an assistant?
I don't.
Okay. So there are VAs, virtual assistants that work very inexpensively that will take those calls. And I'm blessed to have a beautiful person that's been with me for 10 years that does that for me. So, and if anybody ever was going to be tightwad about not hiring somebody.
Tight-fisted.
Yeah, but you know what? Having somebody that can handle the tasks that are taking up your time and taking you away from doing what needs to be done to make more money.
I need somebody to go get a haircut for me.
Okay.
I need to start booking every 3 weeks, just like every 3 weeks.
That's what you got to do. See, that's planning.
Yeah.
There you go. Then it's on your calendar.
I feel like I'm shaggy right now, even though people are like, you don't need a haircut. I'm like, I do. I feel like I need it.
You're funny. See, that comes down to planning again, though.
Yeah, my calendar's full. If I don't put it in my calendar, I'll forget. My dad had a yellow notepad, and I thought he was crazy. And he would lose it if he lost his notepad. He wouldn't know what he was doing.
Wow.
His whole life was on that notepad.
Thank goodness we have Google because we could find it on desktop
I
and
know.
our phone.
Thank God for Google. So what?
And I do work out 7 days a week.
7?
I do. I feel better. It's not like I'm not religious about any of this stuff. I just know what works for me and makes my day go better.
Do you eat healthy? Do you pack your meals?
Sometimes. No, pretty much.
That's why I have Raina working you out.
Exactly. She actually helped me with my Simply Raina. Actually helped me with my meal plan initially, but now it's just a habit. Now I just do it. But I balance. I have fun.
Speaking of habits, I was listening to a book on my way to Disneyland on that long drive. It's called Atomic Habits.
Oh.
It was very good. He talks about improving 1%.
I like it. I'm going to have to read
that. So he talked about a guy who went to the gym. He was coaching, and he could only be at the gym for 5 minutes. So what he was creating the habit for was him getting dressed and showing up. So after that habit was established, he's like, I'm here, I might as well work out. So he could only work out for 5 minutes, and then he would leave.
5 minutes?
He set it to 5 minutes.
It takes me that long to go to the bathroom and get on the treadmill.
Which doesn't make sense to you and I because we work out all the time. But somebody who was a couch potato, who wasn't used to showing up, that's what helped him take that step. And my opinion is a 5-minute workout is better than a no-minute workout.
Absolutely.
The human body is such a fantastic machine. It is physically healthier tomorrow if you work out today?
You know what
Tomorrow
I
you're
heard that you might as well. I know somebody told me that
Tangent.
being a couch potato is worse than smoking. For your body.
So when I was taking
I
health
just
class,
read that.
you're on something. Nurses who sit all day, they said that sitting is a new diabetes.
I believe it.
So
there
they
you
have
go.
the
But we might
workstation
not be
where the
talking real
nurses
estate here, but,
stand
you know.
up. Well, we're talking about
Health.
coaching and health
Health.
and wealth.
Yeah,
Because your health is your wealth.
exactly.
Thank you, Coach.
Well, what, we know who that is.
Yeah, Mr.
Mister.
and Mr. Anisha.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's kind of what got me down, right? That was the worst thing that happened to me out of everything I talked about. Who cares about money? I mean, I can have no money,
If you're
but if you got no
bedridden.
health,
Oh,
you got nothing.
you have nothing.
I mean, hopefully you can get your health back. We'll hope to get healthy is always
Mm-hmm.
nice, but really, that's just everything, really. So my God is important to me. So I like spending time with that relationship. I'm not like what I call religious.
but you
I'm-
have your spiritual.
I love my Jesus.
You need
and
Jesus.
I do. We're like this.
So, closing this out, what 3 things, tips, tricks, hacks, however you want to call them, what 3 things would you tell people that they should do?
Well, they should probably get a coach to
Coach,
follow, whether it's me or a mentor. Maybe you don't want to pay for a coach. Maybe you know somebody who's in a business that you want to do, and you should contact them and maybe learn how to do it. But trying to do stuff on your own just is so much more difficult. So, but just, to even back up further than that, I think good healthy habits for your mind, like you were just talking about, books, for your spirit and for your body are key.
Audible's been like my saving grace.
I listen to several books a week now because all my workouts. What am I doing?
Do you speed up the speed or do you listen at 1?
At 1.5 now.
Okay, so
I'm
I'm
bad.
at 1 1/4 because like 1.5 was like he was talking like a robot and I couldn't quite get
You
into
get
the
used
book.
to it.
But I realized
that.
the other thing I noticed too is when I sped it up, my mind didn't wander as much.
Exactly.
I focused
me.
more on what the book was saying versus my mind drifting back and forth in and out of the book.
Well, Psychology of Achievement's a really good book. If you wanna look that up, Brian Tracy wrote that book. He just did a new version of it.
Okay.
It's a good classic first version, but the new version is.
What do you think
probably-
about Think and Grow Rich?
I love that book. I actually
What's
listen to
next?
Napoleon Hill on YouTube at least once a week, repeating his little famous, you are what you think about.
You have to share that with me.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I'll
I'll
love
send
that.
to you.
I'll
I
put it on
will.
the.
Actually, I've also made my own personal affirmations. So I took a bunch of verses and I personalized them, and it's like 10 minutes. I put those in my ear. I am. Really, it's almost like there's a lot of negativity out there.
You got to
There's a lot of-
program.
There's a
the
lot
program.
of stuff coming at us, right?
I
There's a lot
agree.
of sad things going on in the world, and I'm not in denial of them. I just think it's really important to fill yourself up so that you can give back love and happiness and joy. And if
That's a
you're
good
just
point.
Sucking all that negativity
So
in.
I have a theory that I'm not raising my children, I'm developing them.
There you go.
So they've read Rich Dad Poor Dad, How to Win Friends and Influence People,
Oh, that's so
Grant Cardone.
smart.
Uh,
I just saw him in San Diego.
Who,
He's actually a
Grant?
friend. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and in Tampa. He was out event. I'm on a. Okay, so talk about spending money. I spent a ton of money on. You want to know the amount to be around a bunch of people who are super successful real estate investors who are also online gurus.
So you practice what you preach is what you're telling me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm in the trenches.
You're in the trenches. Do you have another tip? We got 2. Read.
One more. So I had good healthy habits.
Health is your wealth.
Yeah, health,
Working
wealth,
out.
spirituality. Get a coach. Don't try to figure it out on your own. Oh gosh, what's one more?
I'm putting her on the spot here.
Yeah, that's okay. How about that? We were just talking about books. I think it's important to always be growing your mind as
Oh,
well. So
man.
wisdom. You want to have wisdom, and the only way to get wisdom is to
Feed the beast.
Yeah, you have to actually work at that. So
Yeah,
easy to
I have
sit
a
down and be
huge
brainless.
Library in my phone of Audible.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Sometimes I get bored with the books. I'm like,
Oh, we
this
should
is gonna
start
be.
sharing. Now that I know you like that, I will start. And we both like, growing and learning and educating in the same industries.
I do a podcast too. Jordan Harbinger is one of my favorites.
Oh, okay. I do quite a few. Eternal Leadership is one that I really like. It's really good.
I like.
What'd you say yours was?
Jordan Harbinger.
Okay, you're gonna have to share.
Joe Rogan. I like Joe Rogan, but gosh dang, his show's like 2 hours long.
Oh no.
I'm like, I can't do 2 hours,
Not
man.
even at 1 1/4 speed.
Well, his are on. Yeah.
Podcast, you could do that.
Yeah, he does have podcasts. I always watch him on YouTube because then they condense, they take out snippets of the good parts, and so I watch a 10 or 15-minute clip of Joe Rogan when I'm making breakfast, or always doing something.
Yeah. Sometimes though, somebody told me recently, and it's actually I'm really working on it, is to give your brain a break and listen to your brain. Even Earl Nightingale talks about that.
I call it mindless work.
Yeah, well, just
like wash your car. Put your phone away.
Exactly.
Go out and wash your car and just be with your thoughts. I call it mindless work, or work in the garden, or something to that effect. Clean the house.
Yeah.
Something where who wants to clean the house?
No,
right?
I have horse. I clean my horse.
So put the phone away. Do that mindless work to be with yourself, and I think that's the important part.
Is she saying something again?
Oh, Michelle's saying thank you for all the great tips.
Aw, you're welcome.
Thank you, Michelle, for tuning in. Appreciate you.
We do.
So
7daystofreedomevent.com. I want you to go there if you're interested in coming, because I have till Friday where I have to give a count for my February Caribbean event.
Okay.
And I think it'd be really fun. And even if nobody wants to come to that Caribbean event, it's a really good free webinar.
Okay.
So 7 Days to Freedom event is a free webinar.
I will
that
tag
talks
it in the
about
notes.
how to enjoy what's most important to me and you. Definitely me. So it's why I do everything. Freedom. I want time freedom, the flexibility to choose my time, my place, from where I want to work and what I want to do in a day is freedom. And that's what it talks about. So
awesome. Thank you, Tamara. Tamara.
Camera with a T.
I know. I was.
What did we say? Lights?
Camera.
Tamara. Action.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
For stopping
Thank
by.
you so much.
Join me next Wednesday. I can't remember who my guest is going to be, but I'll post it up here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I really appreciate all the comments and everybody tuning in. And remember, yes, you can with Lance McCann, and
Yes,
have
you
a
can.
great day and be amazing to everybody around you. Thank you.